On 8 August, the governor held a council with his captain in which he invoked the necessity to secure the city in order to sever the flow of spices toward Cairo and Mecca through Calicut and to prevent Islam from taking a hold. For this assault, Abu Kaki landed the entirety of his force divided into three groups on the western side of Malacca. Once ashore, the Portuguese again quickly overcame Malayan defense and recaptured the bridge, by then devoid of defenders. With the bridge fortified and secured with enough provision, Albuquerque ordered a few squadrons and several fidalgos to run through the street and neutralize Malayan gun emplacement on the rooftop. As in the first attack, the main object of the Portuguese was to capture the bridge, but this time the Albuquerque meant to hold it. Some days before his conference with the officer, he had thought out a new idea. This was to use an exception tall junk as a kind of fortified siege ladder, which could be floated toward the bridge and grappled to it. It would overtower the bridge, and from its commanding position, the attacker will rake the bridge from end to end with their gunfire and stone and make it completely untenable. Unfortunately, at first for his plan, the junk was found to have to create a drought for the shallow water of the river. The attack has to be postponed until the spring tide, which will refloat the junk and carry it down to the bridge. Meanwhile, the Malays, guessing his intention, did their best to set fire to the craft by sending toward it on the failing tide, blazing boat and barge, but all the effort were foiled by the Portuguese.
After the arrival in India, the Portuguese soon became aware of the importance of the city. An expedition sailed to Malacca in 1509 but failed, and many of the Portuguese were captured and imprisoned by the Sultan. In 1511, the Viceroy of India, Alfonso de Albuquerque, decided to organize an expedition destined to conquer Malacca. At the head of 1,000 to 1,200 men and 14 ships, Alfonso de Albuquerque arrived in view of Malacca in June 1511 and immediately demanded the rescue of the Portuguese, who were taken prisoners in 1509 expedition. First assault between Portuguese and Malacca. On August 8, the governor convened a council with his captains, citing the need to secure the city in order to cut off the flow of spices to Cairo and Mecca via Calicut and to prevent Islam from taking root. Albuquerque landed his whole army, split into three sections, on the western side of Malacca, Upe, aided by a small caravel, a galley, and landed barges armed as gunboats. This gave opportunity to Portuguese to conquer Malacca again. The Portuguese rapidly conquered the defense of Malaya and recaptured the bridge without defender. The Portuguese constructed barricades of dirt-filling barrels on both sides where they stationed cannons. From the east, a squadron assaulted the mosque, which separated the defender as long battle. Albuquerque instructed a few squadrons and many fidalgos to run through the street and neutralize Malayan gun emplacement on rooftop, shooting those who refused, with several civilians wounded. On August 24, as the Sultan opposition faded, Albuquerque determined to seize complete possession of the capital. Commanding 400 men in a row of 6 men white crossed the street to the sound of drum and trumpets, eradicating any pocket of resistance. The Malayans were terrified by the Portuguese heavy pikes.
For some days, the Albuquerque waited before giving orders for the final attack. He was concerned about the wounded, but he was also ready, even at this stage, to negotiate with Mahmud. He simply asked that permission should be given for the building for a fortress and that his men should receive a reasonable booty for their victory. The Malay war party, however, was in no mood to negotiate, though many of the traders, among them Nisha too was among this, and was giving flat to put outside his house to help Portuguese soldiers to identify it, asked for protection during the sack of the city, which all expected hourly.
Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Zafar, and I will be explaining about the administration during Portuguese colonization. The Portuguese have implemented their own materialization by building fortress and stone construction along the waters of Malacca so that they shall be prepared of any threats from the land and the sea. The Portuguese administration were also combining a religion aspect by involving commercial trade. It creates a huge impact towards Portuguese administration, whereby the spread of the Christianity is strong that gives power regardless of their Christian community. Hence, the Portuguese administration will also implement a karate system whereby the locals are required to pay high taxes, selling goods at low price, and for those who wanted to conduct a business requires a permit. The purpose of this system is to earn more profit so that the Portuguese can expand and build bigger empire in Malacca, such as build more buildings, fortress, and create a bigger army. Without the karate system, the Portuguese will be seized and overthrown by the locals or other rulers of having weak administration with small empire.
The effects of Portuguese colonization. Number 1 is the fortress. Albuquerque ordered the construction of a fortress to close the shoreline, which is known as a Formosa. It is unusually tall, over 18 meters high, and was built on the previous position of the Great Mosque of Malacca with a rectangular shape. It was guarded by the armed guards. Secondly is the Ilha das Naus fortification, a fort defense at the Sea of Malacca. The Portuguese called it as Pulau Jawa or Pulau Malacca, as it was a small island outside the harbour of Malacca. The Portuguese planned a fort of 60 square feet. However, only the foundation of the Ilha das Naus fort had been laid and its walls were not finished when the Dutch invasion force sailed into Malacca. For this reason, the Portuguese abandoned their partly finished fort. Shortly after the conquest of Malacca, the Dutch completed it and now called it as the Red Island. The third is the St. Paul Church, Malacca. It is Southeast Asia's oldest European building. The original structure was a simple chapel built in 1521 by a Portuguese fidalgo, Duarte Colho. The chapel was deeded to the Catholic community in 1548 by the Bishop of Goa. Fourthly is the Portuguese words that influenced the Malay language. For example, armario is almari, Kobe is kubis, ireja is gereja, mantega is mantega, tolha is tuala, and quejo is keju. Number 5 is the Eurasian community. The Eurasian community is a mixture of Portuguese, Dutch, and British community with the Malays. The Portuguese government allowed its explorers to marry local indigenous women. Number 6 is the spread of the Roman Catholic. The spread of the Roman Catholic started when the Portuguese married Malacca people. During the fall of Roman Catholicism influence in Europe, the King of Spain and Portugal had to support new explorers in order to help expand their empires and Roman Catholic Church by military forces. They sent out army and priests along with the colonizers and explorers. Some of them were Christopher Columbus and Vasco da Gama. Number 7 is the influence of dance and culture. The traditional dance of Malaysian Portuguese is the Branyo, which is the descendant of the Malay Joget. Some other musical instruments that were introduced by the Portuguese were violin and also ukulele.